welcome back to the Sports Star. Today we're going to be doing a NFL hot takes video. This is going to be I'm going to toss out a bunch of questions, and we're going to be coming up with various answers to them. Probably going to spiral into some arguments. Who knows? It's not fun. Probably going to get yelled in the comments for most of these takes. Let's get into it. So first off, every year one of the biggest storylines going into this is who's worse at first. Bengals were last year, especially last year with the Bengals being Super Bowl contenders and Super Bowl.
They were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to be this year? I mean, obviously the Ravens are a formidable team to go against. I just worry about they've got a very competitive division with assuming that depending on the suspension with Deshaun Watson, the Browns could be a regional powerhouse. Deshaun Watson plays it all this year, which is looking less and less likely every day. But the Bengals are still the Bengals. I mean, they're a top-tier team in this league now. They've firmly established themselves there. And the Steelers still have a shutdown defense. I mean, not much to say there, but the Ravens are probably the best last-place team. Like, if I had to pick a team to play with, I was going to pick with the Ravens. But in a team that's in a less competitive division, I think the Lions could bounce.
I definitely disagree with the Lions. I'm going to throw out a team. Everyone in the comments is going to literally just
Let's go.
yell out. Jets.
No.
They had an insane draft. Like, they got their secondary. You got Ahmad Gardner, Sauce Gardner. You got Sauce Gardner. He's top tier. Has potential to be top tier. You got Garrett Wilson. You got a receiver for Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, everyone's forgetting. He played incredible his last year at college. He just didn't have anyone to throw to last year. Corey Davis, you have a great receiving core. Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. Like, you still have great receivers now.
But worst to first, really? I mean, that's a pretty competitive. That's an insanely competitive division. You got the Bills, who have been perennial Super Bowl contenders for like 3 years. I still think. I mean, they're picked to win the Super Bowl for a while. You've got the Patriots, who, although
You never know with them.
you never know with them, including who their offensive coordinator is going to be, since they don't feel like revealing that information to us.
They can beat out. I mean, and then you got the Dolphins.
And then they got the Dolphins, who I don't love this year. I don't like Tua, but I do think they have potential. Like, they should be a tough team to play against. I don't think they're going to do great this year. I think they're probably going to finish last or fighting for last in that division. But they're definitely a formidable team. But I do think the Lions are, because I mean, think about this, right? The Bears suck. Plain and simple, the Bears suck. They're not going to be a threat to anybody this year. Vikings, aren't that great. Like,
Unless Kalen Mond becomes the next like
Kirk Cousins. And I mean, the Packers look weak. Like, I know they're still they still got Aaron Rodgers.
Who are they going to throw it to?
Exactly. And that's the biggest problem with the Packers this year, why I don't think they're making it, at least not getting the 1 seed again this year. Honestly, fair shot for them. I think that the Lions are in the best position to win their division from last to first. Another team kind of similar to the Ravens is the Broncos. Now, they just traded a buttload of picks and players to Seattle for Russell Wilson. Could they contend this year?
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, you got several players from the Chiefs gone, several receivers, or a receiver, Tyreek Hill. Without Tyreek Hill, I don't.
Yeah, I know. This is definitely the worst the Chiefs. This is definitely the most beautiful the Chiefs have looked recently.
There are going to be guys that need to step up tremendously for the Chiefs to repeat what they've done past years.
But the Raiders, Raiders should take a step forward this year. I just don't love their head coach. I don't think McDaniels is going to do. I think it might be a repeat. Honestly, it might be a repeat performance of Denver. Honestly,
but
the Chargers are still a powerhouse, which is why I don't think they're not my pick to be worst to first. They're definitely something you need to be keep an eye on this year. It definitely is a wild card.
Yep.
So moving on to the next point. So other than Kenny Pickett, right? Because we know Kenny Pickett's probably going to be the Steelers quarterback this year. If not right off the bat, I think he starts 10 games minimum.
I think, yeah.
So other than Kenny Pickett, which rookie quarterback is going to start those games this season? So you got
Willis, you got Corral, you got Ritter, you got Pickett, you got...
And not including Pickett.
Not including Pickett, so not...
And Strong, maybe?
Strong, Howell.
So yeah, out of those 5. And then technically talking to Zach here, but he's the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
There's
He's
no
backup to Mac Jones.
Yeah, there's no chance he plays this year, but unless Mac Jones goes down injured. But I think my take is at least Ritter's going to be the most likely to, because I think that's out of the 5. I mean, you got Malik Willis versus Tannehill, Corral versus Baker Mayfield, who they just traded for, and Sam Darnold. So maybe there's some weakness, so he could slip in. Aren't Howell and Strong both with the Eagles?
No, Howell's with Commanders. Strong is with...
Right. Yeah, so Strong's with the Eagles as an undrafted. So he's best case backup, honestly, maybe even third on the roster.
Do they still have Minshew?
I think so, yeah.
So I think Minshew's still backups.
Yeah, so he's probably out. Then it's who else is there? Then it's Howell.
I'd say Howell.
Howell's a good shot, definitely.
Behind Wentz. But there's...
Behind Winston. But then there's also Heineke there to worry about. I think it's going to go into the season. At least go into the season as a backup. Both Carson Wentz and Heineke both have an injury histories. There's no guarantee.
Getting called up could be
a very real possibility. And then there's Ritter.
I think Ritter, it's Ritter.
Against and what we're looking at here is it's the weakest, and it's the team that has the least invested in their quarterback because he was a 2-year signing. He's the highest drafted out of the group, so he's more likely to get invested into. I think Tannehill's going to play fine this year and then be gone. So yeah, I think Malik max starts 3 games this season.
I think
unless Tannehill really struggles.
The thing with Willis is he has the upside. He just doesn't have. He's just not ready.
And I think if the Titans are losing, like say comes week 10 and we're 4-6.
I think you definitely.
I think if we get eliminated, if we were get eliminated from the playoff talk, or we lock ourselves into a playoff spot, we're gonna play him just to see what. And if we go up big in the end of if we're up big or we're up down in a game, we're probably gonna put him in to see what we have.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's gonna start a substantial amount of games this year.
Logan Woodside, I think they're gonna have to carry 3 quarterbacks on the roster this year because. Look, Woodside's not a bad backup.
No, he's not
He's just not a great quarterback.
No, he's serviceable, but never gonna be a starter.
So you gotta keep 3.
So I think Ritter or
he's more ready than Willis, so you gotta keep him there.
Yeah, I think Ritter or Corral are the 2 most likely. And the problem with Corral is just that they've already got Darnold on the roster. They have they just traded for Baker.
You have 2 big name quarterbacks.
So they've invested a lot into. I honestly think that rule might just. I think Baker gets a lot of hate for no good reason. He's the best quarterback the Browns have had in a long time.
I think the Panthers have 3 very different quarterbacks on the roster right now.
Definitely.
Corral, very mobile, can throw on the run. Baker, I mean, I see similarities between him and Baker, but not much. And then you got Sam Darnold who can't run.
Sam Darnold's done. Like at this point, honestly, I feel like that draft class, if it wasn't for Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, that's a terrible draft class. Like, Josh Rosen at the top.
Forgot about him.
Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Baker. Was Baker in that class? Yeah, I think Baker was in that class. And Lamar. So Lamar and Josh Allen are top tier. I think Josh is one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. I think Lamar is a
top 5,
top 10 definitely. Yeah, I'm hesitant to call him top 5 just because I don't think he's ever really shown that. But
he definitely needs to stay healthy.
Yeah, definitely top 10. But then like you got Josh Rosen who's out of the league at this point. You got Sam Darnold,
who's about to be out.
Who's fair shot this is his last season, at least as a
Start.
this is somebody in competition for a starting role. And then Baker Mayfield, Baker Mayfield's the third best quarterback in that draft class, and he got kicked out of us. He got in a massive mistake by the Browns, by the way. Massive mistake there. I mean,
I don't know what they're thinking.
it's the best quarterback. It's the best quarterback that you've had in 20 years. He's the only reason that they weren't. He played injured for them. Like he was dedicated to them. They just weren't dedicated.
I understand what they're trying to do. I just don't understand like why. Like
and as more and more comes out about this Deshaun Watson case,
it's just worse.
It gets worse and worse. It's looking more and more likely it's going to get that year suspension. And honestly, I feel like the NFL is going to give him at least a year. I mean, I've seen talks about 2 years just because of the severity of all this and been falling apart from Watson's camp.
I think Watson, his years of being elite are just about because he hasn't played in he hasn't played 3 years.
But
it'll be like 3 or 4 years until he'll actually.
When he plays, he's a top 5 quarterback.
If he plays well, like, but when he did play, yes.
Yeah, when he did play, he was a top 5 quarterback without a doubt. But it's just whether or not he plays it. Like, and the Browns messed up massively. Like, giving him that guaranteed. Why would you give a guy who has legions of controversy around him? Like, the only storylines around him for the last year and a half, 2 years, have been Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston. Deshaun Watson accused of a lot of cases. Why would you give him a guaranteed contract?
You've ruined your reputation.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think the NFL, the problem for the NFL is
no one's gonna want him other than the Browns.
Yeah, but I mean, I think with the NFL, the suspension of him, it's one of those ones where like they basically have to give him a long one, otherwise they're gonna look at, say Deshaun Watson gets suspended for 8 games, right? Let's just say the NFL, it gets to training camp, they say, okay, we're ready to make our, they have to make their suspension, I guess, somewhat soon, right? Because I mean, it's getting, we're almost at camp. It's almost time for that to start working. So they have to come up with their suspension soon. Say they make it 6, 8 games, which I think would be a terrible idea for the PR, everything involved in it. Right? People are going to look at that. They're going to say, Deshaun Watson, accused of a lot of terrible things, suspended for 8 games. Calvin Ridley, bet on a couple games on a team he wasn't playing for. And as far as we know, he bet on his team to win. On a team he had stepped away from to look at his mental health. He bet on that team. A team he had no connection to at that point. Got suspended for a year. They're going to look at that and say, y'all care more about money. And that's basically what that was. They were concerned about Calvin Ridley is stealing money from the NFL. More than you care about actual change in this world. Which, and if they do that, honestly, I can't say I would disagree with them.
Last year, Watson got paid for sitting at home.
Exactly, yeah.
So I don't see why the NFL just doesn't right now.
Yeah, and honestly, the thing is, if they spend it for a year, that's one thing that's. I think if nothing progresses in the case, whether or not Watson is innocent or guilty, I think if nothing progresses before they do it, a year, maybe a year and a half is a fair suspension. But if it goes anywhere toward, if the scale even slightly tilts more towards Watson being guilty, NFL could pull out 2 years, maybe even a lifetime, which would
lifetime. That'd be shocking.
Lifetime. That would be groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Because as far as I can tell, that's never happened for a case like this before.
Especially to a guy like
especially for an all-star quarterback. But I feel like a 2-year suspension might be in the books because the Browns, when they were signing that contract, made Watson's salary this year $1 million to circumvent the chance that if he gets suspended for the year, we don't have to worry about we don't have to worry about paying a guy that didn't play for us more than $1 million. But next season it starts hitting at what, $46 million, I think?
that much, then it's gonna
then
get
that's
faded.
not just punishing Deshaun Watson at that point. That's also punishing the Browns for trying, on one hand, trying to circumvent the league, also employing a terrible person. All that stuff, it's scraps all that.
So trying to and looking at it on the business side of things, like who's gonna start? Who's gonna be the starting man?
And Brissett, that's what it has to be at this point.
True, but you saw him with the Dolphins. You saw him with the Colts. He did good things. He
Yeah.
just didn't win.
Yeah,
So I mean, you gotta rule out the Browns for being big this year.
Yeah, and especially if Watson gets suspended. And that's where I think they really messed up with Baker, because I mean they couldn't start this. Like Baker Mayfield, they burnt too many bridges there. Both camps had, honestly, but especially the Browns have burnt so many bridges when it comes to how they handled the whole situation, how they wouldn't listen to Baker Mayfield asking for a trade earlier in the season because they wanted to see how the Deshaun Watson case worked out. All that stuff, I think that they just burnt too many bridges where they couldn't just say, yeah, hey, you want to come back and be our starting quarterback this year? They couldn't just say that at this point. They really messed up there because, while he wasn't ever really a top tier quarterback, he was always serviceable, especially with a talented roster like the Browns currently have. I think they would definitely be contenders.
Yeah.
But Browns going back to being a clown show. There is one more thing I wanted to mention on this. So out of the two conferences, the AFC is probably the stronger conference. Do we agree? Like the top. If we look at the top 5 teams, so you got AFC, you got Chargers, Chiefs,
not Pack.
Bengals,
Titans maybe.
Bills.
Oh yeah, Bills.
You got I'd say the probably top 7 teams in the AFC.
Oh, maybe Denver.
Maybe Denver, yeah. I'd say the top 7 teams in the AFC are better than the top 7 teams in the NFC, right? Maybe even, I'll also say top 8 teams in the AFC are better than the top 8 teams in the NFC, right? I think we both agree on that. But you go past it, you look at the bottom 8 teams of both conferences. I'd say the NFC is a lot more middle. Like, there's a lot more teams that are, there's not a whole ton of teams that are terrible, other than like the Bears.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of teams that are great. You look at the AFC, and you got the Jaguars and the Texans. Gonna be terrible this year, without a doubt. I mean, same probably with the Browns. As I mentioned earlier, are probably gonna be really bad. The Dolphins are gonna be really bad, probably. So that's probably
and also maybe the Saints.
not the AFC.
What am I thinking?
So those are the top. So and the bottom teams are a lot worse than the AFC, and the top teams are a lot better. So I feel like that Colts.
They're mid.
They're gonna be middle, but I'd say that the AFC is gonna be a stronger team. But you're also gonna see a lot. You're gonna see if you look at the bottom 10 teams in the NFL, you're gonna see it's not gonna be 50-50. It's gonna be 6 or 7 AFC teams, 3 or 4 NFC teams. But then if you look at probably the top 5 teams in the league this year, it's going to be 3-2 maybe even 4-1 towards the AFC. So I think the AFC is a lot less rounded. It's a lot more. There's definitely two classes of teams. You're either really good, you're really bad, or you're good or you're bad. There's no, you're okay. But you look at the NFC, I'd say there's you got the Saints, who I think are going to be okay this year. The Vikings, okay to bad. Just thinking of. I think the Eagles are going to be okay to bad this year. 49ers. A lot of these teams are going to be okay to bad. There's a couple really good teams and a couple really bad teams. But most of the 12 to 14 teams are going to be in that very middle of the pack, good but not great teams. And then there's going to be a couple teams there's going to be 1 or 2 teams at the top, 1 or 2 teams at the bottom. Nothing more than that. So I think that's about it. Do you have any other points you want to make?
Nope. Think that up.
Great. Thank you all for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
hope to see you guys around next time. See ya.